Tonight, we are live in Israel on the verge of history. The release of the remaining hostages set to come at any moment, which could start to end the war in Gaza. Hamas required to release 20 living Israelis by tomorrow morning. Hundreds of thousands packing into Hostage Square this weekend in anticipation. New details on the high-stakes exchange, medical teams preparing for the handover, and what this family member told me he will tell his relative once they're reunited. Plus, the aid trucks rolling into Gaza today as part of the peace deal. President Trump on his way here right now, planning to meet those hostage families in person. What we've learned about the president's address to Israel's parliament and the historic peace summit in Egypt, now just hours away. Also breaking tonight, the powerful nor'easter lashing the East Coast with dangerous winds, heavy rain, and up to 3 feet of flooding in parts. Thousands of flights already canceled or delayed. The mass shooting at a bar in South Carolina, 4 people dead, at least 20 injured. Spinning out of control, the crash caught on camera, a helicopter slamming onto a busy beach. The Good Samaritans who pulled a person out of the wreckage. Going under, the tourist ship built to look like one of Christopher Columbus's fleet sinking. And from here in Israel, the families waiting and hoping for reunions with hostages just like these. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News. Reporting tonight from Israel, Tom Yamas.
And good evening tonight from Tel Aviv, where history will unfold over the next few hours in a series of rapid-fire events. You can feel the anticipation here. We heard it on the streets today, every corner plastered with posters of the hostages. At any moment, those remaining 20 living Israeli hostages held by Hamas are set to finally come home. Hundreds of thousands were out this weekend to celebrate these first steps of President Trump's peace deal. We were there in Hostage Square today. And at this moment, President Trump is in the air on his way over here to Israel, where he'll meet with the hostage families and address the people of Israel from their parliament. And then that historic peace summit in Egypt, where President Trump and world leaders will formalize this peace process. And while there's jubilation in Gaza as well, there is also despair. Look at this. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians returning to northern Gaza this weekend, many realizing their homes are now gone. Tonight, the world is watching as the first major steps towards peace officially begin.
Tonight, this plaza in Tel Aviv, the center of Israel. So much anticipation for the moment the whole country has been waiting 736 days for.
We want to see the hostages home. We want to see Omri home.
Omri Maram was among the 251 kidnapped by Hamas terrorists on October 7th. He's now one of the 20 living hostages expected to finally be free within hours. Moshe Levi is his brother-in-law.
What do you hope to tell him? I hope to tell him what an incredible wife he has, what brave little daughters he has, and how the entire world knows his name in one way or another and wanted to see him home.
They did release at one point video of your brother-in-law. What was it like when you first saw him in that video?
It was difficult to watch. He looked very different, frail, and under duress. We focused on his eyes. His eyes were laser focused. He was in his yogi pose in times in the video, and that signaled to us, Omri's still there.
Every week, hundreds of thousands of Israelis have come here to Hostage Square to remember those people that were taken by the terrorists. You can see their photos everywhere, messages hang on trees, and there are also reminders of the brutal terror attack.
And across Israel, the billboards thanking President Trump for his historic diplomatic victory, securing a peace deal. The president now on his way to the Mideast. His first stop here is Israel, and then to a peace signing summit in Egypt.
The Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before. It's an honor to be involved, and we're going to have an amazing time.
And these new images of the site where they'll take the freed hostages, offering them comforts they haven't seen in 2 years of captivity. Private rooms, beds, and showering supplies. The hostages likely facing the effects of starvation and torture. Israeli officials tonight say one way they'll ensure the country's security is by destroying Hamas's tunnel network underneath Gaza.
Does it worry you, this second phase, what's going to happen after the hostages are released?
Of course, because I want that Hamas will be dismantled
that Hamas will be disarmed.
Do you think the Hamas tunnels underneath Gaza need to be destroyed?
Israel will insist that it will be destroyed.
Tonight, Omri's family eagerly awaiting his return. His brother-in-law telling us he's hopeful the war is now over.
The resolution came thanks to President Trump, thanks to his administration, and thanks to the sacrifice of our soldiers who put military pressure on Hamas and their accomplices in Gaza to push them to surrender in the way they surrendered for this deal.
And as we wait for those hostages to be released, humanitarian aid is slowly making its way into Gaza tonight. And we're getting a rare look at what hundreds of thousands are coming home to. Richard Engel tonight with the new video.
Now that Israeli troops have pulled back from parts of Gaza and a ceasefire is in place, local journalists can fly drones, giving the world a wider view of what is left of this 25-mile-long strip that's home to 2 million Palestinians. Before this war, I met Nadine Abdelatif in Gaza.
We have to live in peace and we have to live in safety. That's our rights.
We've been following her story as she's been displaced from town to town, living in makeshift shelters, and after her older brother was killed in an Israeli airstrike. I spoke to her again today.
How are you processing all of this?
The first thought is that you're happy, and that's buried. That's buried under much sorrow, guiltiness, much just like hurtness in my heart, witnessing things I never thought in my life I would ever be able to witness.
A little aid is now trickling in, but only a few dozen trucks. Clearly, many more are needed. The Israeli bombings may have stopped, but not the misery. Palestinians today uncovered dozens of decomposed bodies under destroyed buildings, adding to the 67,000 dead medical officials say they already knew about.
And Richard joins us now live in Tel Aviv. Richard, walk our viewers through what we're expecting in the coming hours.
So as you said, the 20 living hostages are supposed to come out quite soon, in the next few hours. In exchange, Israel is supposed to free about 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. But there is still this open issue of the remains of 28 hostages who died in captivity in Gaza. And the Israeli military tonight gave Hamas until Thursday to find them and hand them over, because some of them might be buried under rubble.
It's going to be a major point for Israel.
Otherwise, Israel says it's going to form a force and go looking for them.
All right. Richard Engel first. Richard, great to see you here. President Trump is set to address Israel's parliament overnight before attending a peace summit in Egypt. Peter Alexander is on the ground in Jerusalem for us. And Peter, good evening. The president's set to arrive overnight.
Tom, that's right. Aboard Air Force One tonight, Donald Trump declared that the war is over. Notably, those comments came just hours after Prime Minister Netanyahu, in remarks to Israelis, appealed for unity and warned that the military campaign is not over, saying there are still major security challenges here ahead. For his part, the president is expected to be on the ground in the Middle East for less than 8 hours. Vice President Vance says President Trump will welcome the hostages in person. He will also deliver an address to the Israeli parliament before flying to Sharm el-Sheikh, the Egyptian resort town, for that peace ceremony with world leaders. Still, many challenges do remain, like Hamas's disarmament and the building of an international security force. But when asked about the Arabs and Israelis' commitment to a deal, the president said, "I don't think they're going to want to let me down." Tom.
All right, Peter Alexander for us from Jerusalem. Peter, we thank you. Back at home, a dangerous nor'easter, one of the strongest storms of the season, is slamming the East Coast right now, bringing heavy winds and coastal flooding. Sam Brock is in the storm zone tonight for us.
Tonight, violent waves and rising waters rocking the streets of South Jersey, with a dangerous nor'easter putting the entire state under emergency declaration.
Stacking on top of each other. You get a tide that comes in, it can't go out. Another one goes in, that one can't come out. Another goes in, and that, so it just keeps stacking higher and higher.
It's the latest punch from a multi-day event that saturated South Carolina, with cars almost underwater and stores shuttered from more than 10 inches of rain. Farther north in Norfolk, Virginia, drone footage captures an entire region drenched. That's 50 to 60 mile-an-hour winds, plus the highest tides of the year. King tides are wreaking havoc. In addition to the violent surf and the flooding that we've already seen, coastal erosion is a huge concern, and here's why. Look at this. The water reaches all the way out to the sand dunes there, pulling away at its banks. With sandbags out and some businesses closed for bad weather, the Atlantic City mayor says the convention center's ready should it be needed for shelter. Do you expect evacuations at any point?
Evacuations are on the table. They're being discussed.
Uncertainty over the next 24 hours, with thousands of flights also snarled. Delays up and down the East Coast.
That is the bridge.
The picture of severe weather slamming cities all over the country.
And with that, Sam Brock joins us tonight from Atlantic City, New Jersey. And Sam, what are officials telling you about what they're watching now?
Yeah, Tom, they're worried about people driving through standing water. This neighborhood where I am right now was flooded just an hour ago. Now it's low tide, but the water behind me is going to rise about another 7 feet tomorrow, Tom. There are 2 high tides, the second of which is of great concern.
Sam Brock for us tonight. Sam, our thanks to you. Let's get right to meteorologist Matt Brickman from our NBC station in New York. And Matt, this nasty storm is going to last through tomorrow?
That's right, Tom. We're going to see the wind and the rain from this storm peaking tonight and through the day tomorrow. But thankfully, it drifts out to the east rather than traveling further to the north. That's going to lower the impacts that we see. Rain totals will be cut back because of that, 1 to 3 inches on the high end. So flash flooding, not really a concern here. Maybe some localized flooding, but more of an onshore wind creating coastal flooding down the Jersey Shore through Delaware and into Maryland, 2 to 3 feet above typical tidal levels. That could cause some flood concerns along with these damaging winds, 50 to 60 miles an hour. That could also lead to downed trees and power outages through the day on Monday. Tom?
All right, a busy couple days for you there, Matt. Matt, we thank you. Now to the government shutdown and a major reversal from the Trump administration, now scrambling to bring back hundreds of scientists at the CDC they say they accidentally fired. Julie Sirkin has the details.
Tonight, the Trump administration scrambling to clear up confusion for some CDC workers that the government says received incorrect notifications they were laid off.
The government shutdown inevitably leads to some chaos.
An official familiar with the matter telling NBC News a, quote, glitch in the system is to blame for the layoffs of hundreds of scientists responsible for monitoring disease outbreaks in the U.S. and around the world. At least 4,000 federal workers fired across the government since Friday, following the president's threats. Meanwhile, members of the military will be paid on October 15th, according to Trump.
The longer this goes on, the deeper the cuts are going to be.
With the shutdown now entering its 3rd week, millions of Americans are feeling the consequences. Today, Smithsonian museums and National Zoo, home to the giant pandas, closing their doors.
We're really excited about experiencing D.C. and everything that it has to offer with ourselves and with our kids.
But both sides are not any closer to turning the lights back on, as Democrats demand expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies be extended.
Tens of millions of Americans are receiving notices right now that their premiums, copays, and deductibles are about to explode, which is why we need to address it.
One of those Americans is Jeff Feldman, told his premiums would spike 25 to 30% come January.
What kind of choices are you going to have to make if premiums do skyrocket?
Just one, whether I can afford health care and what kind of health care I can afford.
Now, Tom, this week, House Speaker Mike Johnson keeping his Republican members home again. Meanwhile, the Senate expected to try and reopen the government for an 8th time on Tuesday. Tom?
Julie Sirkin at the White House tonight. Julie, thank you. And we have new video of a helicopter crashing in Southern California. That chopper spinning out of control before slamming down on a busy tourist beach. Here's Morgan Chesky.
In Huntington Beach, California, a picture-perfect day turned nightmare. A helicopter sending debris flying before spinning uncontrollably to the ground.
Oh my God, oh my God!
As dozens watched in disbelief, others ran to help. These witnesses appearing to pull at least one person from the wreckage.
I was kind of scared because the police were telling everyone to back off, it might explode.
I was in shock that I almost died.
This angle captured by Jackson Etchart, who initially thought it was a trick maneuver.
it just got even worse on spinning, and next thing you know, it's trashed into all those palm trees.
Authorities sharing 2 people on board and 3 bystanders were injured, but somehow survived. Adding the chopper was supposed to be part of a Cars and Copters event.
5 people that were transported to the hospital. They are in an unknown condition right now.
Whatever happened very quickly. The helicopter lost directional control.
Former NTSB investigator Jeff Gazzetti says the flying debris appears to have come from the chopper's tail rotor.
Once that tail rotor fails, what is the pilot left to do, if anything?
At that low of an altitude, if a tail rotor effectiveness problem occurs, there really isn't a whole lot to do.
No way! Tonight, as survivors recover, experts say the abundance of video and surviving pilot should expedite figuring out exactly what went wrong. Morgan Chester, NBC News.
All right, we're back from Israel in a moment with families waiting and hoping for emotional reunions with hostages just like these. Back now with a deadly mass shooting at a bar in South Carolina. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office saying 4 people were killed and at least 20 more were hurt after gunfire broke out. The Sheriff's Office says they are looking into multiple persons of interest, but have not yet identified a single suspect. And look at this video of a tour ship sinking near Puerto Vallarta. That's a resort town in Mexico. You can see it tipping on its side before it starts going under. That ship is actually a replica of the Santa Maria, which of course Christopher Columbus sailed on across the Atlantic. The local fire department says there were no tourists on board, only members of the crew, and nobody was hurt. All right, when we come back from live here in Israel, the moment nearly 20 families have been waiting for. Israeli hostages set to be back in the arms of their loved ones after 2 years of waiting. That's next. Finally tonight, with 20 Israeli hostages about to come home, their families are preparing to reunite with their loved ones, something they've been waiting for and praying for the last 2 years. These are the moments so many families waited for. Their loved ones, held hostage by Hamas, finally returning home. Mothers reuniting with their daughters. Siblings embracing each other. This is Keith Siegel, freed in February after being held for more than a year, hugging his family, including his brother Lee.
And I'm looking and oh my gosh, that's Keith. We embraced and I just said to him, you're here, you're here. You're here, I love you.
Sagi Deckelhen was held for nearly 500 days. This is the moment he ran into the arms of his wife. Moments later, she revealed to him the name of their child he'd never met. His father, Jonathan, was also there.
There are not words in the English language or any other language that I know that can truly express the power of that moment.
All of Israel hoping that tomorrow the families of the remaining hostages feel the same power of that moment. And the world hoping for more scenes just like that. That's Nightly News for this Sunday. I'm Tom Yamas reporting tonight from Tel Aviv. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.